The mind is like a mirror, reflecting back to us what we've seen and what we've experienced. And the greatest power that we can ever possess is to understand that your thoughts shape and form and create your reality. People who often think that they are poor remain poor, and vice versa. And people who think that they can't do public speaking, well, I was definitely one of them, or so I thought. And so when I received the invite to come do today's TEDx talk, I was utterly surprised and simultaneously mortified at the idea that I would have to stand on stage alone in front of an audience to give a presentation. And to make matters worse, I was informed that I'd be the first speaker to set the tone of the TED proceedings. So talk about pressure to the power of 10. And I come from a background that I understand what pressure is about, especially in the events and wedding industry. But this is just next level. So please bear with me if I do utter complete nonsense. It is definitely due to unnecessary stress. So quick fun fact, the fear of public speaking or speech anxiety is ranked higher than the fear of not having money or even of death. So when you put that into context, it actually sounds quite absurd that one would choose to rather go through financial difficulties, as if we don't have enough of them in today's economy, or to hypothetically choose to die before speaking in front of a crowd. That just sounds crazy, and that's probably why I'm here today, because ain't nobody got time to be broke or to die. So when I told my colleague who's sitting in the crowd today that I was going to come do this talk, she reacted by saying, "Oh my gosh, congratulations, go for it," because a while back, we were joking about one of us ending up in a TEDx talk or a TED talk. But the first initial thought that I had was, no, I can't do this. This is definitely not me. So I've already placed a restriction and limitation in my mind. And this got me thinking how powerful our thoughts actually are. That our thoughts ultimately control our lives and our destiny. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist, nor am I conducting a study of the brain. I am merely a creative at heart, and some might know me as a serial entrepreneur. And I just want to utilize this platform to share an idea with you all which has helped me create the life that I have today, all through the power of thought. That if you truly think it and you truly desire it, that it can become your reality. Einstein says that the world as we have created it is a process of thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. I want to take a moment for all of us to absorb this very powerful statement, that basically most of the things that you see around you, that you can see, feel, touch, or experience, has been strategically placed by people and their ideas and their thinking. So if you understand the statement that your thinking creates the world that you live in, then it is very possible for you to create your desirable world through your thinking. Let's get to it. I just want to get a suss of the audience that we have here today. How many of you over here are working, either for yourself or for someone? Just raise your hands. Okay, how many of you that have raised your hands believe that you have a brilliant product or service and can prove it? See a little bit of doubt there. My last question is, how many of you that have raised your hands are actually underquoting or underselling or not pricing your products as you should? So we all feel, okay, great. Why is it that we undervalue our work? All right, is it solely due to the market and the environment that we're in that forces us to underquote our services or products, which ultimately means our time and our worth? Surely for most entrepreneurs, the market does dictate the price that you can ask for a specific thing. But the market should never, ever dictate the worth and the value of your idea, nor should our environment and our community restrict us from wanting more. It's simply about conditioning your mind to think differently and to think more creatively in order to obtain what we want. So when I started my company, ENVIE at 25, I too had these doubts and these beliefs. Was Bloemfontein really such a conservative market to tap into? That people have said, why are you back in Bloemfontein? There's no money in Bloem. People won't appreciate your work in Bloem. So I thought about it, and if I had listened to them, I probably wouldn't be here today. My mentality back at 25 was that, screw it, let's just give it a try. Win or lose, at least I wanted to attempt it. Regardless of the environment that I was in, I was going to give it my full. So I started out with a cell phone and a laptop and a small little garage filled with little decor items that I collected along the way. And I jumped from one coffee shop to the next, signing deals. And within a year, I grew my company with 500% in profit. And I think that the most important, or the essence of the story, is that I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss, that I wanted to be a great entrepreneur. And that's how I conditioned my mind to think. So there was no option B. Regardless of, like I said, the environment or the community and what they had to say, I was going to make it work. I believe that people who blame their environment and the background and the community are just people who can't see past their lack of or their limitations, just like initially the restrictions that I placed in my own head. But think about it. How can two people from the same background, same environment, same schooling system result in two different outcomes? Surely if you go through the same process, that your results should be the same. And by this, I'm referring to my brother and I, right? He might just shoot me because I'm using him as an example, but I guess that's what siblings do. We are totally opposites. Firstly, I've got more hair than he. He's rocking a bald look, all right? But I think the only differentiating factor that separates us is the way we think about the world and the way we think about ourselves. He has a more cautious and conservative way of thinking, whereas I'm more of a dreamer and a risk taker. He probably sees the chaos for what it is, whereas I always strive to find the beauty within the chaos. There's no wrong or right to this. If it helps you, or if it works for you, then it's for you. But the one does insinuate a positive notion, and the other one, a slight pessimistic one. But look at our own community. Why do some people excel more than others? Right? It's because of the way they've conditioned themselves to think. So how then does one shift your mindset and shift your thought? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's easier said than done. But I think before we tackle this, we need to see what contributes to the way we think. And I believe it's these five factors. Firstly, it's your background and your beliefs, how you grew up, what values were instilled into you. Second is your environment and your surroundings, basically your community, or in entrepreneur, or in business, your market. Third is the people that you hang out with, whether it be your friends or family, your colleagues, your bosses, even suppliers and clients. Number four, it is how you expose yourself to obtaining information, whether it be, or what resources are you trying to use, whether it be books, magazines, social media, YouTube, or even just trash television. And last, your health and well-being. So if these 5 channels contribute to the way you think, it's safe to say that if any negative or false information falls in any one of these channels, it can result in dire consequences if the information is false. So basically, your whole life can change because you believe in this false information. I watched a video the other day, and the video starts out by saying, what if you were in a coma and you wake up from that coma? You have no recollection of your past, and the doctor tells you that you were the greatest Olympic champion there ever was. How would you think? Or if you were the best economist in South Africa, or the best lawyer, or the best teacher. All right? So that's something that we have to think about, because everything around you, or you surround yourself with, becomes a reference. Take the news, for example. There aren't a lot of positive news out there today. People like hearing about theft, corruption, murders, disasters. So this automatically programs our brains to think that that is the actual ratio of bad to good in this world. Just like most Taiwanese people won't come to South Africa, not because of the crime, but because they might stand a chance of getting eaten by a lion. Or, like most South Africans think, that they can't trust an Asian with their kittens or puppies. Okay, so but jokes aside, everything around us becomes a source of reference, whether true or false. It becomes our reality. Another example I had, or another story I want to share, is that when I went to, or we had the opportunity to do an event in a very famous farm outside of Bloemfontein, a farm renowned for their cuisine and a beautiful wine list. And the day before we had to depart, I received a phone call from one of my friends, just chit-chatting, and basically all he wanted to say that, Tony, I know you're an avid wine drinker, but I think you need to slow down. I said, why? Because he saw a picture of my Instagram, and I post a lot of wine and wine glasses on the Instagram. And so he said, because you might get gout. So I said, oh, please, I think I live a relatively healthy lifestyle. So I excused it. And when we got to the venue, I had a sense of a tingling sensation on my right foot. And you know what they say about when someone plants a seed in your head. So I started to stress. So I called my other friend, Wayne, who actually had gout before. All right? And I said, dude, what's the symptoms of gout? And he said, do you have gout? I said, let's not jump to conclusions. Okay, I don't know. I think I might have. So he says, okay, fine. You started with tingling sensation. Your feet swell up. The skin around your joints starts becoming purplish and blue. And then the next day you die of agony. So in my hysterical state of mind, I do what most people do today. I call a doctor, right? But not just any doctor. I Googled it, all right? So Google symptoms of gout, the biggest, or one of the biggest mistakes I've ever done. Because the ratio between the symptoms and the info that you read grew the further that you read, okay? The more that you read. So all of a sudden, I started seeing things that weren't supposed to be there, to the extent that I even asked my assistant, look, does my one feet look bigger than the other? All right. So she said I was crazy. But I did what no avid wine drinker would do. The night that we had the 5-course meal, I decided to pair my 5-course meal with a glass of water and lemon. Okay. Needless to say, I didn't have gout. And I didn't have gout the next day, and I just realized, you know what, I missed out. I think this is the crux of it. I missed out on a perfect opportunity, all right, to have a 5-course food and wine pairing. Because of what I told myself that I had, and I believed it, even if it was just for a while. But in all seriousness, I believe that if something is not contributing positively in your life and into the vision that you have for yourself, then a definite mind shift is required. So I found this video on YouTube. It has almost 7 million views. And I strongly suggest that if you are stuck in a rut or need a bit of motivation, that you have a look at this video. I'm only going to show you a minute of the video, so just have a look. Let's see. Can I play the video?
There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind. You can change your hair, your clothing, your address, your spouse, your residence. But if you don't change your mind, the same experience will perpetuate itself over and over again, because everything outwardly changed, but nothing inwardly changed.
Okay, so I strongly suggest this to anybody that needs a sense of motivation. It's a 5-minute video, and it's on YouTube called Mindset. All right, I want to conclude my speech by doing one last example of how what you tell yourself or what your thoughts can become your reality. So if everybody can participate, I want everybody to close their eyes. Right, eyes closed. I want you to put out one hand because I'm going to give you a gift. All right. I'm going to give you a big, fat, juicy, yellow lemon. All right, I want you to feel that lemon. I want you to feel the texture of that lemon. Now I want you to peel that lemon. Peel that lemon slowly. Feel the rind. Feel the flesh of the lemon. You can almost smell it. Now, once you've peeled the lemon, I want you in one motion, put that lemon in your mouth and take a massive bite. All right, now open your eyes. Did you realize that the more I told you about this lemon, the more saliva you started developing? All right, this happens when your mind does not know the difference between what is actually happening and what you're telling it. And this is proof again that you can have a physical reaction and a physical reality to what you think. So, in conclusion, okay, there's one more slide here, but it's not working. If people's thinking have created the world you live in, then it is very possible to create your own desirable world through your thinking. Thank you very much.